Could somebody please make it make sense?
Hi everybody, welcome to A Pop of Culture. I am your host, the Esoteric and Facetious, and this is A Pop of Culture, where we speak on pop culture, social justice, and the human experience from Blaque, bisexual, millennial perspective. Everything, and I mean everything, that I say should be taken with a grain of salt as I'm simply a college student with access to the internet and the recording device. With that being said, my youth shouldn't be your sole reason to critique my views unless it's truly relevant. Before I get into the topic at hand, which is going to be YouTube growth channels and, some of my feelings on them, I want to shout out my cover channel. My cover channel is a channel where I sing. I'm passionate about singing. I love singing. So on my cover channel, you can find covers to throwback R&B, contemporary R&B, pop music, whatever I'm feeling, whatever you're feeling. I also do parodies. So feel free to check that channel out as well. With that being said, we're going to be getting into the topic at hand, which is going to be YouTube growth channels and some of the quote-unquote, deceptive things that I feel like they can say and do, just talking about them in general. I kind of want to start a series where I talk about different YouTube niches and, my thoughts, my opinions, So what are YouTube growth channels? Obviously, YouTube growth channels are going to be channels that are going to teach you how to start a YouTube channel, how to rank your videos in search, how to use SEO, how to write the algorithm, different things of that sort, which is cool. But I guess the thing that started this video was I actually came across a YouTuber who I watched their videos, pretty frequently, because I guess for me personally, I like to watch YouTube growth videos, even if I know, for me, I feel like I've implemented, certain strategies and stuff, which, of course, YouTube takes time, and YouTube growth can take time. So I guess for me, I like watching those videos just, because sometimes, watching somebody, if I'm doing something, sometimes I like to watch somebody talking about it, because it's kind of like if you're watching a makeup tutorial while you're doing your makeup, or, cleaning up your room while watching a cleaning up your room video. I feel like there's just something about it that kind of makes you feel less alone. And for me, that's why I like watching a lot of these YouTube growth channels and stuff, because, otherwise when you're making YouTube channels, I haven't made any, connections with other YouTubers or whatever who are trying to, grow and up and coming, or who have even established themselves on the platform. So I think it's nice to, watch YouTubers who talk about growth and different strategies and things like that, because it reminds me, hey, I'm not the only one, because it can kind of feel like you are when you're, starting out on YouTube, right? So I'll watch some of them, but one of the kind of concerns I had was, this lying that I saw, or this kind of manipulation that I saw, that kind of bothered me. So what are we going to be talking about? So some of the things that bothered me would be, first and foremost, I joined a Facebook group, which I don't usually get into the Facebook groups because I feel like a lot of it is link dropping and stuff and not really building connections and stuff. But I saw that this YouTuber who's, all about YouTube growth had made a YouTube growth, group chat or whatever. So I was like, let me see what's going on, be a fly on the wall. And basically when I was filling out the questions and stuff, the question thing said, are you subscribed to, this person's channel? And for me, my thing is, this YouTuber had kind of come off as, talking about, I only do organic growth and stuff, no sub for sub and things like that. And for me, when it said, are you subscribed to this person, before you entered the group and stuff, and there were over 2,000 people in the group, I kind of felt deceived, because it felt, basically, I think you had to fill out the question. I don't know if it would have allowed you into the group if you said, no, I'm not subscribed to this person. So it made me feel like 2,000 of the subscribers that you got are probably people that you at least somewhat coerced into subscribing to you. And for me, I guess that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I feel like a lot of the YouTubers, these YouTube growth strategists, they kind of give this idea of, I'm just like you. I just started my channel off with 0 subscribers, and this is, how far I've gotten. And my thing is, for me, another thing to note is I don't think this is necessarily deceptive, but I think it's something that we also have to kind of elaborate with or analyze. One of the highest growing niches I feel on YouTube is how to grow on YouTube, because as more and more people have been able to, change their lives with YouTube, get brand collaborations, get brand deals, live off of YouTube, I think that YouTube has become a spot for a lot of creatives and people who are just want something different, because basically, like, you see people who, worked at MAC or worked at Sephora, and now they have their own makeup line, or, they have makeup collaborations, or they're getting paid to talk about primers and foundations and concealers. And I feel like in our world and in our society, you can somewhat, like, if you get a degree in a field of work that you're interested in, you can kind of have some freedom to, talk about your interests or engage with your interests and stuff. But I feel like the way that YouTube has kind of made itself to be, there are some creators who, they like talking about cartoons, they like makeup, and they've turned that into a living. And I don't think we see that a lot with the working positions and stuff, where you could be doing a job that's tangentially related to something. You could work at a Sephora, or you could work at a MAC, or maybe even work within a brand, but I feel like you wouldn't, like, nowhere have I seen people turning hobbies and interest into careers in the way that I've seen on YouTube. So with that being said, the more that, people are transparent about how much they make on YouTube and with sponsorships and collaborations, I'm not going to say that YouTube is easy, but I do think that YouTube is not necessarily the most challenging path to do. When it comes to, being a doctor, becoming a lawyer, becoming and computer scientists and engineers, certain things that, highly sought after fields that can, pay very well. There's a lot more that you have to give than just turning up the camera and, having a personality and learning how to edit and, learning how to edit thumbnails and stuff. Like, there are several people who don't have, haven't been to secondary school, but make a good amount of money off of YouTube and, other ventures. So I think obviously there's a lot of people who want to go into YouTube. So I think that the thing that I've seen is because so many people want to get into YouTube, there's a need now of how do I get subscribers? How do I become monetized? And I think a lot of people have kind of taken advantage of that, not in a bad way, but, well, the people have questions, so I'll give them answers. But I guess the concern that I see a lot when it comes to these YouTube growth channels and stuff, and some of them I've seen address that because people will be critical of them for that and stuff. But basically, of course, like, for example, if you are, and that's something in general, not every niche is going to be as profitable or just, easy to grow in. Certain niches may be easy to grow in if you get a review in at the right time, or if you just, have a good thumbnail, for example, like the beauty community. But some people may also say the beauty community is oversaturated and, it's not as easy to grow in there. So it depends on which community you're talking about and just who you are, and there's so many factors to consider. But I guess the concern I see when I see a lot of these people who are, these YouTube growth vloggers and strategists, I feel like sometimes they aren't as transparent and kind of being honest about them and their channel growth. And what I mean by that is, I feel like, how to get monetized fast, how to get subscribers. Sorry if there's sounds I'm driving. I feel like a lot of these YouTubers, the reason why their channels are able to grow so rapidly is somewhat due to the fact that they cared about SEO and, used the tool like TubeBuddy or vidIQ. I think that, yes, they use vidIQ, but I feel like there's also just an element of YouTube growth where people are looking for that. That's content that people are looking for. And I feel like it's not their fault that that's something popular, but I feel like sometimes you just have to qualify that. Because, like I said, this person who's saying, oh my gosh, I grew the subscribers doing this and that and that. But it's like part of those subscribers, most of those people who joined the group probably were already subscribed to her, so she probably wasn't lying in that way. But it's also just like making that question where, are you subscribed to this person before you can join the group? It kind of made it feel like, well, if they weren't subscribed to you, they're subscribed to you now. And it kind of made me question, is her growth as organic as she makes it out to be? And I think that's the thing with YouTubers. I feel like sometimes, especially these YouTube growth channels, some of them, I do think, they are truthful. They just have a very profitable niche where it kind of can be easy to grow. But I feel like some of them, it can kind of feel like maybe they're faking the funk, like where some of them, they'll be getting views and stuff, but they'll start to have viral videos as they're making videos and stuff. So it's kind of like some of them I feel like haven't necessarily figured out. And I don't think you can 100% figure out how to grow on YouTube, because I feel like YouTube's a changing platform. But I feel like some of them, I feel like it's kind of like they're figuring out how to grow on YouTube and it's like, you just went viral or had a video go viral, and now you're telling us, and I guess it's good that you're telling us in real time, but it's kind of like those earlier videos on your channel, were you just faking the funk, or did you not know as much, or were you just teaching us how you knew? And I think that that's kind of one of those iffy areas, because like with YouTube, I think that we do value experts and people who know what they're saying. And I feel like with some of these things, like writing the YouTube algorithm, I think there's definitely methods to the madness and things that can make it work. But I also feel like some of it is luck and happenstance and, things that are without or outside of our control. So I feel like there's kind of a battle that we kind of have to face when we are people who watch these YouTube content creators wanting to grow. Like, taking everything they say with a grain of salt, but also just kind of being skeptical of things. Because that same creator, one of the concerns I had is they tried to do a video where they were like, oh, how I grew my my Instagram followers. And the concern I saw in that video was, I think that this individual was talking a lot about, using hashtag strategy and different things of that sort. And I'm like, I'm not saying that didn't help her, but the thing that I noticed was this individual would constantly tell people, if I'll give you a shout out if you are active on my Instagram. And the problem I saw with this is you basically were engineering activity on your YouTube by encouraging people to be active on there to get a shout out. But when you go to your Instagram video, you're not talking about how you drove people to your Instagram from your YouTube. You're trying to make it seem like you got 5,000 followers on Instagram just by, doing hashtag strategy. And the reality is, as Vanessa Lau has said, she said that, and that's one of the greatest things I've heard from a social media growth or YouTube growth channel is to have a platform, you kind of have to have a platform to get a platform, or it's a lot easier that way. And I feel like sometimes YouTubers, they can grow a lot on YouTube and then they can use that to grow on Instagram or vice versa. So I feel like there just has to be transparency, because I feel like otherwise you're just kind of giving pipe dreams to people. Because that's the thing that I always wonder with some of these kind of self-help types of things, because it's there's multiple ways I guess you can have followers. When somebody's going through something, they can watch your videos and give you that engagement, and then they can go about their merry way, where it's kind of the sliding door of new people coming in. But it's kind of if you're always telling people how to grow on YouTube and stuff, it's kind of if you're continually making videos, it's is the process changing, or is it just this is kind of your stick where okay, I make videos on YouTube growth, and because if it's because it's you question, is your goal to help your subscribers to grow, or is your goal to get views and subscribers? Not saying that those are mutually exclusive, but it's are you kind of keeping them on this hamster wheel of hoping that they're going to grow through watching you and hoping they're going to find this secret sauce from you that you haven't given them yet? Or maybe like I said, I think it's maybe a mix of that, but it's also just a mix of they're learning as they're going on in their channel, so they may be able to teach you how to grow to 5,000 when they're at 5,000. But then they may figure out how to get to 10,000 through new strategies. So I would hope that that's what they're doing, and they're not kind of holding their subscribers on a string. But I think it depends on who we're talking about. But overall, I think the YouTube growth channels can be beneficial and helpful to people, because I feel like they can kind of give you some of that brutal truth about certain things. Of course, if you're starting a vlog channel, if people don't know you, if you don't already have a social media presence, it may be harder but once you get people to know you, those videos can perform well, but it may not be the easiest to get into that space. So I think that it's important to just, of course, take everything with a grain of salt, and also just be aware of what people are doing, because sometimes people can end up having unfortunately fraudulent practices where they're kind of misleading you in certain ways, or just not telling the whole truth of it all. So thanks so much for watching. And, to anyone who's watching this because they themselves are trying to grow their YouTube channel, all the power to you. I'm trying to grow my channel. I've had my channel since May. And, it's definitely been a lot of trial and error and patience and figuring things out. But I personally am, really driven to build a personal brand. So that's what's keeping me going. And also just understanding, even though so many people start the YouTube channels, that doesn't mean, it's a lot of people who don't finish or follow through. But I'm going to be that person who follows through as long as I can. So thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a like, put a thumbs up emoji in the comment section if you're still here, so I know you're still rocking with me. If you are on desktop or don't have emojis, you can leave a comment that says still here. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. And like I said, if you want to subscribe, then feel free to do so, and hit that bell so you're the first to know when I upload new content. Now, as the video ends, you're going to see a playlist to your left of all my video essay podcasts. There's at least 20 at this point, 24 and counting, so feel free to check those out. There's a button in the center to subscribe if you would like to, and in the right is a playlist of all my covers that I've done so far, so feel free to check that out. Love y'all so much. Have a wonderful day. And if you want to support me, if you want to support the show, my cash app is linked below. All people who donate will be featured in the credits of all of my videos on both of my channels. Love y'all. Bye bye.